Hello, beautiful Earth Angels. Welcome to Team Joanna. If you are new, welcome. I hope you stay. If you are coming back, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you continue to enjoy what I channel for you. My name is Joanna. Few announcements. This is going to be, by the way, June message, or a whole bunch of June messages for the Earth signs, and each sign will have its own little space at the end of the main video, but by all means look at the other earth elements because you probably have some placements there as well. So that's as far as this particular comment. I want to share with you a space where I and two individuals have created in order to provide you with more content, and we call it Higher Consciousness Academy. So this Higher Consciousness is a space where we will upload and create or offer a lot of information you've been asking for that has anything and everything to do with empowering yourself and with self-awareness. So if you are a private member on Team Joanna Facebook page, you probably already know this information. But if you are not, there's a link down below. If you want to click on it, it will take you to a place where you can sign up and you can stay up to date as new information comes in. And we are working on the content right now. So go into the link, click, and you'll be taken to the Academy. Last but not least, there is something else that I am forgetting. What is it? Oh, yes, of course, the Facebook page. Thank you. If you are not already a member, we do have a special private space for Team Joanna members on Facebook. All you have to do is just follow the link underneath and it'll take you to our Facebook page. And this is a place where we together as a whole bunch of people, I believe we have 3,600 members, come together and share with each other for the purpose of healing, for the purpose of betterment, for the purpose of self-awareness and empowering ourselves. And there is content that isn't available here on YouTube. So if you want to join us, that would be great. All right, without further ado, let's move on with the energies for the month of June, thereabouts, 2020 for Earth signs. I feel, I'll be honest with you, that this is going to be mostly channeled information, which means I don't have a lot of content in my logical mind, so I'm not quite, I feel like I'm unprepared. And I just heard, it's not that you're unprepared, you're just not aware of it. So, oftentimes, there's a message here, thank you. Oftentimes, when we feel like we are not prepared, it's not that we are not prepared, it's just that we are afraid that we might fail. So that's a fear, it's a very normal response. But the point being made here is that oftentimes we are more prepared than we are willing to accept or than we know. And that's because there is a whole bunch of our own strength hidden in the subconscious realms of our psyche where we don't often look for information. So with that said, I feel that over the next month or so, I've asked for the information to be fairly June-ish specific. For the next 6 weeks or so, I want to say expect the unexpected. And as I'm saying this to you, I know that there was a weekly that I did a couple of weeks ago maybe that had the same content, and for whatever reason, if you haven't listened to it, do, because there's a connection here that's being made, and it's the expect the unexpected. And the vision I have is I'm looking forward, and then somebody taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around, and when I turn around, I see, and whatever it is that I see completely changes everything for me. And it's perspective. So over the next few weeks, I would say few months, it's like I see as somebody trying how to run and they're just tired, so they keep falling and they keep getting up, they keep falling, they keep getting up. At the end of the day, they get to the destination, but it was uncomfortable. And during those uncomfortable moments, during those falling down, each time you fell down, you had to get up, which means you had to focus on your strength in order to get yourself up. It's almost like the falling, as a metaphor, is there to almost activate our own strength reserves. Because with each time we fall and get up, we grow. So by the time we're done with this up and down roller coaster ride, we arrive at a place where all that information is then stored as significant knowledge. And equipped with that knowledge, we move on with our life, but in a completely different way. And it's not even that it's black and white, good or bad. It's that it's different. And the different is, they're telling me, is what scares me, or scares you, scares us, because it sometimes scares me. And it's not that it's unfamiliar. On one hand, it is, but it's almost like there is an element of, if I know what I know, what am I doing here? And then I hear, that's the question to ask yourself. It's almost like, wow, there is this energy floating around that makes us, because I'm a Taurus, that makes us somehow tune in or better understand the real reason or purpose why we are here. And each person will have their own individualized version of what that is for them. It's like a wave of remembering. It's really interesting. I've been referring to, or it's been referred to for me in the last few weeks, the month of September. I don't know why September. There seems to be a culmination point in the month of September. And it's almost like we are reaching, or will reach, some sort of a culmination point. And it's for whatever reason, I can't see what's behind September, but it's like, whatever it is, the best way that I can say it is, it feels completely cleared out. There is no clutter. There's space. It's almost like, here's an example. I'm in a big city, crowded city, and the next phase is a desert with few spaces in between. That's a dramatic change. And I see where they're going with this. Thank you. I got a download this morning on a certain topic, and I see they're now weaving it in, and it's just brilliant how it happens. So whatever that is that waits for us, and I do believe it's, some of it it's conditions, but most of it is in our thoughts, in our thinking, how we see things. It's almost like what we're doing right now, we're going through an adjustment period in order to allow that other space, that less cluttered space, to be our reality. And the analogy of a sifter is coming through again. I feel I've said the sifter analogy before. It's right now, it's like we're being purified. So it seems like that energy is continuing since, I think I've been talking about it since April. So anyway, there's something around September. It doesn't mean anything bad. It doesn't mean anything physical necessarily. It's almost like, I can't describe it. There is a change in the month of, or around the month of September-ish. And it's really exciting because I'm focusing on what is on the other side of that September. And there's this peace. I feel this, like I've arrived. But because I've arrived doesn't mean that it's the end. It means now that I arrived at this new place, I still get to do what I get to do, except perhaps in a very different way. And this is a knowing, it's an understanding that comes over us. And my 3D brain, Joanna's brain, is trying to logically figure out, and right now I can't connect because I'm kind of removed. So what do we do with this shoe? It's an important month. I don't feel it's just June. It's June, July, potentially leading to September. Very powerful energy. I want to say very restorative energy. And I'm asking, excuse 1 second. And I'm asking, is it for all elements, signs? And you know how it is. Those are just labels, but the concept, the focus seems to be on the sign, on the earth signs. And makes sense to me because it represents stability. It represents structure. It represents structure, dependability, all of that. And obviously that's a metaphor because we're talking about mind and emotions. I hope I'm making sense. I saw a squirrel when I was meditating on our signs. And I thought, didn't squirrel come to me in one of the weekly readings? And I think it did. I just don't remember which one. So I kind of tuned into the squirrel because the squirrel energy is completely different, the energy I just described. It's not that it's better or worse, it's just different. It's just different. And when I tuned into the squirrel, because it is trying to tell me a message, well, a squirrel comes in and says, I have a message for you. And the message, interestingly enough, and notice what I'm doing with my throat, something hard to let go of. Okay. Yes, habits are hard to break. There is no question about it. But anyway, going back to the squirrel. So the squirrel is looking at me in my mind, and it's holding a nut. And it's like, knock, knock, anybody there? And I'm like, okay, you're a squirrel. And the squirrel looked at me and he or she said, have more fun. And I thought that's hilarious. So the message simply is that even though we are going through this tremendously charged time in our own evolution, where a lot is going on, the potentiality that exists is out of this world. Everything is the potential of what's happening right now, and where it can lead us is it's like the ingredients for making a perfect bread are there. What has to happen is when you just need to put it together to make it work. And I'm thinking, I think I like this analogy, though again, Joanna brain can't quite grasp it entirely. So I'm hoping the analogy of the bread is going to make sense. I think it does. And I also hear, get ready for good outcomes. Whenever it comes to change, we fear outcome may not be good, right? And again, good or not good is a matter of perspective. And of course, there are certain things that are obviously not good, like losing your job or something like that, right? But if things like that represent a new opportunity to be or start something different, then that difficulty, that change, it doesn't seem to be as big, right? But because we don't know that where we're going is going to be better, we may have a feeling, but we're not sure. The fearful dominant side may be a bit vocal about watch what you're doing. Are you crazy? Are you doing the right thing? It's you questioning you and you overanalyzing. And I've said this before, and I want to say it again. Think of it as your ego's last attempt to get your attention and to have your attention on it permanently. And you're saying, no, because you as my ego is not me. You are a part of me, but you are not me. And your ego is like, what are you talking about? This worked all this time. Why are you questioning it? And you turn and you say, obviously I'm playing a role here. It's not who I am anymore. I'm not you. And your ego goes, well, what am I going to do without you? In other words, without you, there's no ego. Ego cannot exist without you. We think that we cannot exist without our ego. That is interesting. Depends on how you look at it. Ego in and of itself is just a whole bunch of ideas clumped together by frequency as glue. We step into it, and that gives us a meaning of who we think we are when we are in this non-awareness of ourselves. It does a really good job, but it isn't real. And I feel many of us will have that awareness. And it's going to be on such profound scale at times that I feel it will make us literally question, have I gone crazy? And I'm seeing myself literally shifting into this other reality and kind of doing both, but not really both. Like I'm really kind of struggling. If I was a driver, I wouldn't let me out driving. So it feels awkward. It feels potentially scary a little bit because you don't know. You do, but you don't. And remember, what I'm talking about is frequency shift. So some of you may have no idea what I'm talking about. Some of you may have already experienced this. Others of you will begin to experience this, and then you will come back and hear this and go, oh, that makes sense. But again, we can't fit this energy in a box of June. It's gonna, like, as far as I'm concerned, it's another, 2 to 3 month period, right? And all this energy is absolutely opulent with change. Now, it's interesting the way the words are being used, opulent and change, because opulent means a lot, much of opulence, right? Abundance. Change often is thought as something bad. So it's termed. It's not seen in terms of value. But the combination of opulence, change, means the changes, though sometimes challenging, will end up creating that abundance. The changes is what will become the abundance. I hope that's making sense. And many of you are aware of feeling this inside of you. Many of you are not. I feel like it's you're either aware or you're not aware, or you're kind of sort of questioning. That's a good place to be, I guess. So a lot of interesting energy. So I see why the squirrel is knocking and saying, hey, have some fun, because at times it may feel emotionally, it may feel overloaded. You may feel overloaded. You may feel emotionally heavy, because it's a lot of work happening underneath our awareness. So have more fun if you can. I also, when I tuned into this squirrel, I wanted to get a feel of what it meant to me, what it represents by tuning into it, if you will. And what I got was industrious work. So I had to look it up, and I don't even remember what it says, but I know it's a good work, and it's solid, and it's persistence. So the key here message is persistence, focus. Whatever you persist on will amplify. Whatever you focus on persistently will amplify even more so. Good, bad, or indifferent. I don't think there is good, bad, or indifferent. Let's use that analogy. So your intent, always remember what your intent is. And with the squirrel, it's you see it running around and looking for the nuts because winter is coming, so it is preparing. But even the squirrel cannot over prepare by stuffing too many nuts in its mouth, because it can only handle so much. So there is an analogy here that's being made, and that is, do prepare, but don't over prepare. What does it mean to over prepare? To overthink. How do you stop overthinking? I almost want to say, well, you can't. You can, of course you can. You can slow down your thoughts, which will help you think less or less frequently. Yeah, because, okay, persistent thoughts, that's a lot of energy. That's movement. That's movement. That makes sense to me because that can also make us so anxious. That is output of energy. I can totally see it. So where was I going with this? Yeah, you can overanalyze. So I'm going to say to you, try not to overanalyze whatever it is you're overanalyzing, but I know what that's like because I am one of those. I'm in a habit of overanalyzing myself, which reminds me, when I was tuning into our energy, I became aware of just how much I tend to stall. S-T-A-L-L. It was like, wow, I was so aware that, oh my God, why do I stall so much? It's like this stalling. Why am I stalling? Constantly stalling. And then I realized in that moment, oh my God, I don't know how to be any other way. I had that moment of realization just a few moments ago before I recorded this. And it just occurred to me. I don't know how to not my whole self back. So I may not want to hold myself back, but I don't know how to do that. When you've never done it, and you've always held yourself back, and it's on so many layers, most of it's subconscious, as you know, and now you're being asked to let go of that stalling, which is to be you. You don't know how to be any other way. And I realized it was a very weird feeling. It was a very weird feeling. Because this constant stalling always tells me where I am, my awareness of myself. You're fearful, you're this. I'm constantly practicing the same thing. Now I'm being asked to give up, which means I'm being asked to practice something different. Well, I don't know how to do that. So the answer seems to be do a little bit less of holding back. So become aware of where you hold back in your life right now. What do you consider holding back? Emotionally, physically, intellectually, spiritually? What does it mean to you to hold yourself back? And notice where you're doing that. And then observe the reasons behind why you hold yourself back. What is it that this holding back gives you? It's primarily feeling of safety. It's primarily feeling of safety. However, it doesn't work that way, does it? Because we hold ourselves back, and that's usually when we do not feel safe at all. To be yourself is also to feel safe in many ways. I have to, as Joanna, think about it, but it makes sense to me. When you are conscious of who you are and you become that person, meaning you practice being the conscious person, your awareness of your awareness allows you to feel more safe, more relaxed. Interesting. Okay, so I'm using new cards this time around. I love them. It's called Sacred Spirit, okay, by Anna Stark. So I'm using the first card as an influence to see what energies are influencing us. And we have the spirit messages. How appropriate. And on the bottom it says, observe your limitations. So I thought, how appropriate. Hang on one second, my music decided to switch on its own again. I thought, how appropriate with all the information that I have been receiving. So again, what is this? This card represents the overall supporting energy. What's gracing us with its presence? which is the way I even said it. It means important. What's important? So I want you to just to keep a look at this bird. There's so many messages that are coming out of this for me. The first thing I get is coming out of hiding. Coming out of hiding. The other is clarity. Yet another one is open heart. Yet another one is facing something. Yet another one is seeing the truth. There are so many things here. So let these words, because they just kind of came out, see if they resonate with you. You may not know again until a little bit later how this resonates with you. But this essentially is a message to me of freedom, spirit freedom. Now, as spirit, you are free. For the most part, I believe, unless you believe you're not, which I guess it puts you in a different level of consciousness. But this feeling, this bird represents to me transitions and freedom. Free of fear, which is, by the way, what limitations are. So this is supportive energy for the month of June, thereabouts, and July. I want to say, don't waste your opportunity here to let this energy work for you. Find ways to let this energy, to make this energy work for you. I want to explain it, but I feel like I can't explain it without over-explaining it and it loses its meaning. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So what is it that we are transforming? What is it that, how are we limiting ourselves? I love this because it's just how it came out. So this is my Ganesha deck that says Promise of the Future, card number 8. I love this card. And it came to me in this position. Sometimes I look at reverse, sometimes I not. Depending on what I see, it just comes out to me. In this instance, this is about literally letting go of holding ourselves back, which is essentially this message. I'm excited as I say this, but if you're observing me kind of going, well, Joanna, you don't really look excited, is because I'm almost puzzled by the possibility of this being my future. It's like, how can we transform our thoughts just like that? And I hear it takes but an instant to change your perspective. Yeah, your whole world can change as a result of changing your perspective. Just depends what it is, right? And I'm going, okay, that makes sense. So I don't know if I'm expressing that. It's just, there's just this, I'm mesmerized by this, because I'm going, you're showing me that we're going to find ourselves in this space, that it's clear, that it's open, that it's just, oh, and we still get to do what we got to do. And it's like, yes. And it's like, what part of it don't you understand that, Joanna? And then, or is it that you don't believe it? Good point. So do I believe it? Do I believe it? Do I believe this can be true? Yes, I can. Do I have an apprehension that it's not going to happen? Yes, there's a part of me that is afraid that I can't have it this good. Now, again, that's going back to me holding myself back. Ding dong. And by the way, I'm speaking about me, but I'm talking to you, every single one of you. And I feel like this is a time where we can come to some sort of an understanding, a higher understanding, that will help us lift the veils from in front of our eyes. And the veil is basically what separates us from seeing into this other reality or another dimension. Let's consciousness, whatever we want to use. So I love this. That's what we're getting rid of. Except I will Watch my language. Thank you. I'm not getting rid of anything. We're not getting rid of anything. We are transforming in various ways. No time like the present to be absolutely self-honest and true to you and how you present yourself. This is a month of honesty. Really asking yourself the question, who am I? Who do I choose to be? What do I want? What do I really want? What do I really want? You know, beyond the thing I tell myself that I want. What is it that's really important to me? Make you your priority this month. It's like I see you going through all the files, and all these files are supposed to tell you who am I, and you pull out these cards that tell you who you are, and you look at these cards, and based on those cards you go, okay, that's who I am. And I'm going, what if those files didn't exist? What if you had nothing to refer to tell you who you are? Number one, you'd go, who am I? And what I hear is a great question. Who do you choose to be? Who do you choose to be? Be very honest. Life is in your hands. That's what I hear. Life is in your hands. Sometimes somebody else's life is in our hands, like a baby, for example, or a child, right? But for the most part, life is in your hands. Your life is in your hands, for the most part. Okay? Make best use of it. Make the best of it. And that is, of course, a metaphor as well. If you don't believe that you are a creator with incredible skills, you will never start creating. Except for some brave of you who will go, oh, I think I'm going to fail, but I'm going to try anyway. Most people don't want to fail, as if failure was something bad. Or is it? Is failure something bad? Is it bad to you? What is failure to you? And if failure is bad and you have been failing yourself, is that bad too? And if it is, maybe it's time for change. Stop fighting with yourself, mostly. Butterfly as a sign of transformation to the earth air element, which is thoughts, speak, communication, mental communication, your ideas, your beliefs. We are in a blanket of energy that is so powerful, it's not even funny. I don't, some of you, please, if you share this somehow, let me know. Maybe there's some kind of an alignment. I don't know. Maybe it's all the eclipses, or maybe that's what it is. But there is some big ass transformation energy. It's not even funny. And getting rid of clutter, literally and figuratively speaking, in the mind. So we are essentially, literally rewriting our stories. So the question isn't who am I or who am I supposed to be? The question is, who do you choose or who do you intend to be? And if you intend to be anybody, it better be your choice. Because who's going to live your life for you? You, right? So let's move on to each individual sign. So the first sign for Taurus, 2 cards came up. And I saw them right away as a story. Page of Cups and 4 of Coins. For those of you who read tarots, by all means, go right ahead. Tarot, not tarots. Have your own interpretation. I'm going to tell you what came to me right away. For me, it was a new emotional baseline in terms of giving and receiving and not holding back. Now, think about it. The holding back, what I talked about. how aware of how I hold myself back, and I don't know how to do it any other way. And I'm speaking to you because you're the same way to some extent. To get a new understanding, a new emotional understanding, a new baseline in terms of how we did basically is what it's doing. It's letting go of the old structures and putting our forth new foundation in terms of how you do or don't hold yourself back. So you now have a lower limit of how you hold yourself back. That is out of this freaking world. And that in itself can represent such phenomenal change. Think about it. And some of you will feel this because there is this energy pouring through me. Wow. Woo. Sometimes these frequencies are so powerful, and I don't mind them at all, but it feels like I just want to float away. So, always know where you're going. And I'm like, well, that's the whole point. We don't know where we're going. And it's like, yes, you do. You're going to, let's say, call it the fifth dimension. That's where you're going, right? You're going somewhere. You're going somewhere. Point is you're going somewhere. If you don't know where you're going, then choose your direction. As in, not geographically, but take an inventory of yourself today and ask yourself, how do I feel today? As a rule, if today represented my life, how would I feel today? That's your status quo. And then go, okay, how do I want that to be going forward? And what's the difference? And then choose the latter. Wow. That is something. For Virgo, 10 of what? No, Wheel of Fortune, in reverse. Ace of Coins in reverse, and Nine of Cups. Again, for those of you who read cards, please interpret your own story. I will tell you how it spoke to me. So this is for Virgos. What it came to me right away was that there is a potential ending that may not necessarily be too welcomed by you. And it may come as a change, and whether it's status change to you as a person, married or divorced, whether it's work, job, whether it's you move to a different home, there seems to be something, because it's physical, because it's coins, there's something structural and physical. It's something that you hold on to, and now it's being asked of you to let it go. This could be circumstances. This just could be the way you feel about yourself. This could be so many things. It does not have to be a physical thing or someone dying. That is on the very bottom of the list. No, it's part of yourself. And that will be different for different individual. But guess what? At the end of the day, this is where you arrive. So your arrival, despite the fact that the journey was a little bit tumultuous, is absolutely positive and opulent, emotionally opulent. Now, if you feel emotionally opulent inside, to me, you are not holding yourself back nearly as much. That is fantastic. Okay? Now, the letting go may also just represent your thinking, your limited thinking. So for the sign of Capricorn, I got the Page of Swords in reverse and Four of Wands. Okay, so here's how I felt it. I feel many of you will change your beliefs and ideas in terms of what safety and stability represents to you. And I feel it's going to happen as through some set of circumstances. You'll go through some set of circumstances, not negative necessarily, and something will change. Something you'll have an awakening, you'll have an aha moment, and it's like all of a sudden something changes. I feel like I want to put it more into a mold. You see things for what they really are. You're no longer going to be in an illusion with whatever situation or you. And because of that, your idea or your connection to safety and security, it's your baseline is going to change. Now that is very connected to the general message. As a matter of fact, I feel it's pretty much the same. So as you can see, a lot of transformative energy. Your mind speaks a lot to you. Have you ever considered that what is being spoken is not true? If you think of yourself as less than, why do you believe it? What makes you believe it's true? Well, you may say, I know. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know it's true? And oftentimes you'll stop there and you'll either say, well, because someone said so, which I would say, well, how do you know that's true? How do you know that's true? How do you know that what they say is true? Point here is you arrive to a place where you'll realize there is no answer. Exactly. There's none to be had. So, if you are looking for affection from other people, for example, do you look for it to help you define you for who you are, or to help you feel more stable, or to help you feel proud of yourself? Or is it that without that, you don't know who you are? If the latter is your particular situation, then it's time to rethink that. Because how do you know what somebody thinks about you is true? Why do you believe their story over yours? Why are you afraid that they're going to have a different story than you and somehow that's going to matter? Why? Why do you assign importance to it? Why not just look at it as a piece of information? Okay, that's interesting. Nothing to do with me. And it's easier said than done, obviously, but when I channel this, I'm going, that makes perfect sense. If we stood still for a moment and look at how we communicate with ourselves and how we look at the world, we'd be able to see things in such a profound way. I feel that it would literally change our lives going forward, because that is the change of consciousness. That's the awakening. So, no time like the present to focus on that, whatever that was that I was just talking about. I hope you like this. Totally channeled, pretty much, except for a few cards here and there. Let me know what you think about it, what you feel about it. I felt going through me beautifully, but at the beginning I was a little bit nervous. Because it's like every single one of you are probably in a situation where you're not sure where you're going, and you're being asked to basically give up, any control and let something, happen. And that can be a little bit unnerving. But the idea here is that we are looked after, we are safe. Of course, I'm not saying go do dumb shit. But we are being looked after. And I've said this message before. These beings, whoever they are, for each and every one of you, they will not let you fail. So, with that said, I wish you best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you soon. And of course, if you would like a private session with me, that information is down below. Take care. Bye-bye.